You're watching and listening to Wood and Eric. The show begins now.
Good morning, Eric.
Good evening, Wood.
And good evening, Bob Wulff.
Yes, late. What are you guys talking about?
Do you know where Eric is?
Is he in the motherland?
He's in Australia.
Yes, I'm in the motherland.
Oh my god.
Did you know that's our whole shtick? I'm an Australian here in America, and he's an American.
I know
there
his
in
wife
Australia.
is Australian or something.
Yeah,
yeah.
and my wife
Yeah.
is from Germany.
Really?
No, it's American. Like,
That's not funny. That's not funny. It's
It's
totally
someone-
could have been from Germany.
By the way,
yeah.
hello, producer. How are you?
Oh yeah.
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. How are you guys?
Officially here with us for the whole episode. We realized with a third guest, it would be kind of unsymmetrical without a fourth camera. So, producer is here
Okay.
for the whole ep. Looking kind of
He's
hazy.
visible.
Had a big night.
You know, that's just how I roll sometimes. Little hazy, little, lazy.
So this
Little
is
bit
Bob
crazy
said it
sometimes.
best. Bob said, "You look like I'm drunk."
Yeah.
So,
actually I didn't get that the first time. I just got it.
Maybe
This
I am.
is episode 22, and I just want to say, first guest we've ever had on the show.
Oh my god, I'm so honored. Thank
Unless,
you for having me,
well,
guys.
unless you count when our show, we don't talk about it, but we had an iteration of our show like 7 years ago, and we did have guests back then. But since
we did.
Since we've come back, and I dare say this is the best guest we've ever had, even counting.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, thanks.
absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Uh,
Appreciate it, guys.
no
You're paying
contest.
me, right?
Yep.
We'll talk about
Uh-huh.
that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Checks
Before
in
we
the mail.
get into that, voicemail.
Get into negotiations.
We got any voicemail?
Oh yeah, sure we do.
Hi guys, you're both gems and I love the show, and I just thought I'd throw a quick little fun quip on here. Where did Captain Hook get his hook? He got it at a secondhand store. I'm so sorry. Thanks so much. Bye.
Her,
I
her
like that.
joke.
That's great.
Her joke sounds
Did you
like I'm
ban
drunk.
people from
From
the-
calling. We can block
from
their
the
numbers. Yeah.
podcast? Yeah.
We've blocked numbers before. It could happen again.
Oh yeah. Well, hey, look, that was a nice hands-on joke. Thank you. That was great. That was all.
Yeah,
all sealed.
you really gotta hand it to him for taking the time.
Oh, hook, line,
I
and
regret
sinker.
everything about being on here.
Hook, line, and sinker. That's great. That's great.
Bob, how are you? How was your week?
Oh, I'm so good. My week's been so great. How about you guys?
Fantastic.
I know Woods had a great week.
We'll get into it. I gotta ask at the top of the show a very important question that I've decided is going to be a question we'll ask every guest from now on. And it stems from a little argument that we got into last week. Bob, around your house, shoes on, shoes off?
Okay, so I used to be a shoes on guy until I got a roommate, and then he was like shoes off, and I was like, no, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And then I've just become a shoes off guy.
So you wear
Although
socks?
I just got in.
Oh no!
yes.
I'm surrounded by him.
I walked right in, so I have my shoes on right now.
Oh no!
Welcome to the team.
But if I'm like staying in all day, I just don't put shoes on. So
Have you become accustomed to that? Do you find it more comfortable not having shoes on now?
sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. Like I'm not
God.
dying to take my shoes
What
off
are the
right
chances? Well, I put it forth that it's a weird thing to do. We even polled the chat, and like 80% of people were on my side. And now I'm surrounded by 3 shoesies.
Wait a minute, Wood. Are you telling me that your audience, after you made a very clear stance, decided to vote in accordance
Come
with
on now,
your
my
alignment?
audience would.
Oh my goodness.
My audience
Are you
would
saying
go.
you influenced your own
My
audience?
audience
Is
would
that
go
what you're
out
saying?
of their way to make me look dumb. Like they're not in any way on my side ever.
Oh man.
That
Ah,
said,
I love it.
we have a hype train going right now over on Twitch if you are watching live. And if you're listening to the audio versions, thank you. I actually listened back to the last audio version. It sounded so good.
Whoever's doing that audio.
Yeah,
stuff, I
whoever
tell you
is
what,
whipping up that audio over there. I need to...
sounds like he knows what he's
You need to
doing,
teach me how
honestly.
you do my voice because I need to implement that in my videos. And sometimes I send my audio to you when I want good audio, but I need to learn how to do it, so I'm not always asking you.
Whenever you ask me for my help in like post production for your audio, it's always like something that sounds like you recorded it in a trash can like 10 feet away.
Well, yeah.
from
Usually
where
I
you
send it
are.
to you when I'm desperate and I need someone. The funny thing is, I have my two men here. Whenever my audio is screwed up, I'm asking Eric. Whenever my video is screwed up, I'm having an hour-long conversation with Bob, trying to figure out what I did
those
wrong
are
with my
fun.
camera. I gotta say,
Well,
both of you persevere with me, and I appreciate it immensely.
Oh, it's the least I could do. But yeah, I'm glad all of our stuff is back up on Spotify now. We're back to a consistent schedule. So if you want to listen to the shows after the fact, they should be up within a couple days. Because I should have, for example, this edit done today. So you can start your week the right way.
Yeah.
We've got it. Speaking of starting things the right way, man. Boy, I made a good song. I'm just teasing it right
Oh,
now.
You did.
I'm just teasing
Before
it right
we
now.
get
but-
to that, and before we get too far away from the shoes off conversation, I
Okay, thank you.
actually managed to.
We're back on this.
Not only do we have a guest today for the first time, we have a sponsor for the show for the first time.
Oh my.
So if you wouldn't mind, producer, go ahead and
I
play
refuse
that
to believe
sponsor.
it.
All right.
It's not real.
Hello, this is Stanley. I represent the American government, and today I'd like to pass on a very important public service announcement. Since 2004, we here at Shoeless Habitats Are a Gamble, or SHAG for short, have been spreading awareness about the leading cause of at-home accidents, the menacing common house sock. Almost 80% of American households do not practice safe shagging at home. Do you suffer from slick hardwood floors? What about uncarpeted staircases? These hazards, and many more just like them, can spell an unfortunate end for those that choose to risk their lives not wearing shoes at home every single day. You may think it's cool or a funny joke to streak barefoot around your own abode, but tell me, is stepping on a rusty floorboard nail or a loose cat turd that accidentally rolled out of the litter box cool or funny? No. Well, it may come as no surprise, but it didn't get a rise out of us here at Shag either. The best part about practicing safe shag is that wearing shoes is actually more comfortable than not at all. For more information on how that could possibly make sense, please head to our website, www.comfyshag.com.edu. So, please remember, always shag at home, unless you're showering or sleeping. Although you can buy waterproof shoes if you want to try shagging in the shower. Thank you on behalf of Shoeless Habitats Are a Gamble and the American government.
I just
So
figured we should probably get some sort of PSA of our own for
Yeah, for sure.
those
And
hazards.
if you're gonna
of-
shag, at home, make sure you wear a carpet. All right, you gotta be safe.
yeah, you got to be safe.
Lord Taxo in the chat says, "Is that Michael Caine?"
Great.
By the way, that hype train is still going. Thank you so much. We see all of that. Monica with the gifted, everyone with the subs. Thank you so much. Bob, if you didn't see last week, I brought up the fact that I was listening to a podcast and I heard there was a PSA for people getting hit by trains, and I just kind of put out the question: did we need a PSA
Don't
for
laugh.
that? And
Well, when you say it like
do we-
that,
do
I'm
we-
going to laugh.
do we need a PSA for people wearing shoes at home? I thought so. So I reached out to the American
Apparently we
government and Stan, and I took care of that.
Didn't you say you had a follow up to that? Because
Oh
we talked about
yeah,
the whole shoe-
as soon as we ended the show last week, I said I got instant karma. It's because I went to go pee and my belt kind of like flicked off and my pee hit it, and then my pee bounced off and hit my foot, my bare foot. I want to say I went and showered, but I instantly looked down like, well, if I was
Well,
wearing
you already did
shoes-
shower then.
Yeah,
You
you
were
gave it
already
to
showering.
yourself.
Yeah, but it was just the instant karma of, well, if I was wearing shoes, maybe they have a point here.
Nothing like a good stream.
A good Vessi commercial right there.
Yeah. The pee bounces right off the waterproof vests.
Yeah.
I actually bought new shoes yesterday for the first time since I got sent those Vessies. I was like, I should probably retire the everyday Vessies, and I bought brand new Vans, which I
Nice.
could.
What'd you get?
Oh,
These really nice. Actually, they were kind of up there. Must be nice, but they were like actual like half leather. Had some fur on them. They were like brown. They kind of they look like work boots, but they're Vans. I was like, they're kind of sick.
Oh,
Ooh,
that's weird.
interesting.
But yeah, yeah.
I just got these new ones. These are Vajays.
I hate that.
Vajay?
Oh, I like the way it looks though. Is that really how
yeah.
you pronounce that?
No.
I was gonna say they should probably think of
Edger or
rebranding.
something. It's vegan leather to perpetuate
Oh,
the
okay. When I
stereotype.
was in Australia, I don't think you can get them here, but I used to buy Macbeths. Were really cool shoes. They
Yeah, I wore those in high school.
they look like Vans, Converse kind of, but yeah, they're vegan.
Mhm.
They don't
Oh, I
taste.
remember
They don't taste good, but they're vegan.
It tastes like shoe.
Yeah, it tastes kind of rubbery. Couldn't chew through it. By the way, I actually this might not be. I decided not to show this, but Kim and I went to the mall to buy those shoes, and I actually went to use the bathroom, and the urinal there was piss all over the floor, and like in like a moment of podcast, I took a photo of the piss floor, and I was like, again, Bob, so you don't think I'm too weird. Last week I brought up
You guys like piss on the
no,
podcast.
I
It's
was
fine.
like.
I get it.
Not me.
I was like, imagine you go pee and then you step in pee and then you're like, just what, like sitting at your computer, rubbing it into the carpet. And as soon as I saw that piss, I was like, that's not coming in my house.
Why is there pee all over your house?
Because
That's
I
what I'm
would have,
saying.
I stepped in it accidentally. I was peeing. I looked down. I was like, I'm stepping in pee in the mall.
But you were at the mall. You're not shoeless at the mall.
No, that's
In a
what
public
that was my
bathroom?
point. It was you're not shoeless outside, but you step in stuff. And then if
Right.
you wear those shoes in the house, you're dragging it all through your
But there
house.
shouldn't be pee. Okay, well that yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
I get you there.
It clicked. It finally clicked. And that's why your roommate wants you to take your shoes off, you heathen.
Yeah, but he got a dog like right after we moved in together. So one of the first
Yep.
things I said was, "Is the dog taking off his shoes?" And then I just walked
Yep.
away.
Pause off.
That's a good
Yeah.
point. That is a good
I was
point.
that is the point I was gonna make when I was talking to you this earlier today. But you told me to save it for the podcast.
What
I
was
was
it?
gonna say,
Well, I-
take off my shoes, but that's the smallest portion of where the dirt and grime comes from in my house. It's like,
My house is
the,
so
the
clean.
dogs, the cats.
My
Oh,
house
man.
is so dang clean.
This dog does this cool thing when I walk him now, where he will try to pee on me. He'll lift his leg up in my direction and try to pee on me
What?
like I'm a fire hydrant, and I have to jump out of the way like every time. He's a psycho.
Oh, not again.
Yeah,
Did you have coffee
like
today,
the
Bob?
Matrix. I'm having it right now.
Mm.
Mm.
I
Funny.
didn't get to make it myself. I got a pumpkin spice latte. It's half as sweet.
Can I just say before we move it, because I know where you're going with this.
Mhm.
Can I just say I love pumpkin spice lattes. I am the typical white girl come fall
I
time,
love
man.
them.
I've got a scarf.
Me
I've got my
too.
Twilight book. I'm
Mhm.
taking a trip to Dunkin' Donuts. Well, back when I used to live in the States, it was Dunkin' Donuts. Now it's Dunkin' or whatever you want to call it. I love a PSL.
You know,
Anyway,
I love.
I normally do, but I actually it's too sweet right now, and I got it half as sweet.
Oh yeah.
I'm like
They-
I
you
think I
gotta-
changed my taste a little bit.
Oh, you got to tell them to knock it off with the sweet. I
I
love.
did. I said half as sweet, and it's still too sweet.
I love pumpkin
Yep.
spice so much. I can tell you that Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts started serving pumpkin spice on August 15th because I was watching it like a hawk because I needed,
my
and I
God.
went in on the day. It sucks though because it's still 95 degrees here, even halfway through September. So you got to get the iced pumpkin spice, which is still, I still love it, but it's
Yeah.
not the same as a hot cup.
Well,
So-
what you
so
gotta do is
today-
start making your own.
Oh, I do. I
Yeah,
have I
so-
have pumpkin spice creamer and whipped cream in my fridge right now.
not the same. No, man, you got
I
what you got
have-
to do is
Oh, it's
go ahead.
good.
I have the ingredients to make it. I'm trying to follow James Hoffman's recipe.
You actually
Ooh,
have
he's
the
a
spice.
coffee YouTuber guy.
We have the spice
I don't
too.
have. I did. He has like the real stuff, which is like
Ooh.
you got to go like source like a real ginger and like shave it yourself and stuff. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. And then I got like there's like the like normal stuff where you just get ginger from like the
Yeah.
little like bottle. And I'm doing that generic stuff. But you do have to like I'm trying to make the syrup, like the pumpkin spice syrup.
Can you
out of
bring it
all that stuff?
to Too Many Games and make it for me there?
Yeah.
Oh.
I absolutely can. I'll bring an AeroPress. We'll make some
Ooh,
lattes.
That'll
We'll
be a
have good time.
video. That'll be a second channel video
Yeah.
for sure.
Exciting.
do
I
it.
started making my own last year because even though it starts to get hot, well, not hot, but like kind of warm around October, my mind is still like, oh, it's high school football on Friday nights. You know what I mean? It's starting to get cold, but that's not the case here. So I started making my own pumpkin spice lattes, like my puree. Oh my god. pureeing pumpkin and putting it through a sieve, and then putting like a tablespoon of that in the cup, doing the espresso shots, like adding all your flavoring and seasoning and stuff, and a little bit of whipped cream on top. It was pretty okay. It wasn't super sweet like the Dunkin' Donuts stuff is that I normally like, which is probably trash anyway. But anyway, it was good. Honestly, a little bit.
Yeah, I just have canned pumpkin puree. I haven't pureed it myself.
You guys are showing me up. I literally just poured.
It's too much.
I'm cutting a bunch of corners.
I mean, I also am cutting a bunch of corners. I'm actually using some sugar-free pumpkin spice syrup, as well as like mocha syrup and stuff when I want to do that. And it goes really well with like heavy cream, and just make my own whipped cream, include it, and then whip it together.
That's the new thing now, is the pumpkin spice cream or something. It's like a thick, it's the thick cream on top. Yeah.
We're all so basic.
Oh.
We're all so basic.
Oh yes, yes.
Today when I ordered Starbucks for my brother and his wife, and they both wanted the new thing is the pumpkin cream cold brew, and Will wanted it regular, and she wanted it decaf. So I ordered it decaf, and the guy goes, "Oh, we can't make that decaf, but I can make the same thing but decaf." And I went,
"What?"
I went, "Yeah," and he's like,
"Yeah."
He's like, "All right." I think what happened was he figured out he couldn't. There wasn't like a button on the computer, so he just said it, and then he like figured it out in his head and just said it. That he could just do it. But then a second guy handed me the drinks, and I said, "Okay, so which one's decaf?" And he goes, "Oh, we can't make this decaf." And I said, "Oh, well, the other guy said that you can make it decaf." And he goes, "Oh, it's this one then." And then he walked away.
It's confidence. Yeah, there you go.
Oh my god.
Like, all right.
Well, I can't wait.
Well, hey, look, we were talking about this pre-show. You have your favorite chains and whatever, like your Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts, but there's one that's kind of up and coming. And that we had a phone call with them. They ran a jingle by us that we could play as maybe an ad on the show specifically for today, because we know Bob is a big coffee fiend,
Right.
So maybe we want to tee that up. It's not an official sponsor yet, but you know what I mean. It's just an extra bonus for today.
Working on
Man, we are rolling in sponsors. Okay, I'll roll it. Here we go.
When you wake up in the morning, it's time to rise and shine. So fill up with a cup of Bob's Big Bean and start your daily grind.
That's right. The sponsor for today is Bob's Big Bean.
Wait. You didn't talk about this.
That's right.
I never heard anything about it.
The only podcast
We'll talk later.
to get a guest on and then make him pay for the appearance.
The invoice is in the mail, man.
My manager never told you. Never told me about this. He never told me about this. It's messed up.
You need to make a coffee shop. Every time you post about coffee online, I'm like, man, I'd pay for that.
There are some YouTubers out there that are doing their own blends of coffee and
Emma
stuff.
Chamberlain. We should order some of Emma Chamberlain's coffee, make that a video.
I tried to source my own beans, and then that fell through.
It's not easy.
No.
I was just gonna try to steal it from a different company. The whole thing fell through.
Just slap a big Bob's Big Bean sticker over the front.
We were doing some recon to figure out like what this other company used that we're like friends with. I would try to like basically steal where they source their beans from, but it didn't work out. We got caught.
I have a
At any
question.
rate, look, I thought it was a good idea to do a little jingle. I haven't done a jingle for the show in a long time.
I know. We
So
need
I
to
was
start
like,
doing jingles.
It was
again.
beautiful. You're gonna hear from my lawyers, but it was beautiful.
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of hearing from your lawyers, this could be interesting. I just have a quick question for you, if you don't mind, Bob.
Mhm.
I mean, I have many. You are a guest on the show. I have many, but this is the first one. Actually, the second. The shoe one was the first one. I digress. Your logo, the one that's so beautifully behind you in neon, when did you create that?
In 2018.
Very interesting.
I know it looked. There's about 2 other Twitch streamers that have a very similar logo.
That's not what I'm thinking at all. Very interesting. Could we please cue that clip, producer?
You betcha.
On the Wood and Erek show, the people are
piss.
represented by 2 separate but equally important podcasters. Wood, who investigates crime, and Erek, who prosecutes the defenders. These are their stories.
Okay.
You got too many clips. You
Before
got too many goofs and gaps on this podcast.
Not enough.
before you're prosecuted to the highest extent of authority that I have to give,
I have
want-
evidence. Hold on. Let me pull it up.
I want to ask you a question right now. I want to get your immediate response to it. Have you ever heard of Wulff Den Deli?
No.
Interesting. Do you state that by
Interesting.
hand on Bible? State that as fact?
Yeah, where is it even? There's a lot of delis. I'm in
I don't
Do
freaking
me-
New York.
Do me a favor and look at my look at
There's
the
1,000
stream.
delis.
Look at the stream. It's on the stream.
Oh,
What we
Now,
have
that
here
looks familiar.
is Wulff Den Deli, which I discovered today while googling your name for the show.
I've never even
Established
seen this googling my own name, and I'm
Established-
very narcissistic.
2018. Now, I would like to draw your
The
eyes.
logo definitely wasn't around then.
I would like to draw your eyes to this logo. I have had my crack team of animators get to work, and I've noticed something very interesting about the Wulff Den Deli logo. Something very interesting.
It does look exactly the same.
What is going on here, Bob?
I need some representation before I get accosted by you guys on this
are
podcast
we able
right
to
now.
get an official statement?
Objection. Objection.
Yes, you are. If you'd like to draw your eyes to my screen real quick, I have
Okay.
here the work that I did to make this logo. Let me just zoom in a little bit. So these are the sketches that I did when I made the logo. This
Okay.
it was pretty much on the top left. That's pretty much the first product was what we ended up with. And then these are just more sketches of what I was going to do to make it. And then this is the grid that I used. So they probably used like a similar grid to make theirs. And then these are a bunch of different variations of it. And then these are more variations of it. And then we ended up, and now we're here.
Uh-huh. All right.
Very interesting. So when was
Interesting.
that Instagram post posted? Is that 2018?
August 23rd.
2018.
But this logo took me months. And yes, that was 2018.
Would we be able to get any record, any dates, any stamps, any Microsoft dates on your computer as to when these started? Because
I'll
see
try
this
to find this. I'm pretty sure these sketches were from my iPad. I can see if they're
both
still on
the
that.
Wulff Den Deli and the Wulff Den YouTube channel are claiming to have this logo dating 2018. So if you can prove to us that your logo was created maybe in like late 2017, this would show that we might have a case on our hands where we can represent you in a court of law, and we will get to the bottom of this, and we'll get you the compensation you need for Wulff Den Deli stealing
Thank you
your
so much.
logo.
Thank you.
However, if you cannot
was gonna
prove this,
call
it'll be
Salino
the
and
exact
Barnes.
opposite, and we will prosecute you to the fullest court of the law. And Wulff Den Deli will reign supreme with their deli meats and knives, and they will take the sole name of Wulff Den Deli, and you'll have to change your logo.
I
Wait, no,
will-
wait.
I would like to say something,
Oh, these are
if I may,
You may.
in defense of Mr. Bob Wulff here. If you would type in wolfdendeli.com into the Wayback Machine, you will find that this website, until about August 7th of 2020, did not exist.
Really?
Good.
Well,
I would also like to, more evidence on my case, this sketch image thing
yes.
was uploaded to my own Dropbox in April of 2018.
Oh.
Okay. So as far back as
So-
April.
Or as
Yeah.
far back as April, baby.
So this website was created after 2018 is what the producer is saying. That's not to say they didn't just bring their logo and assets into it, but
True.
Mhm.
further research will have to be done. Look, we have
Yes.
accused the man himself, and he has said that he is innocent and this was his design. Now it is up to us as prosecutors, Erek, to divulge.
What we need
Further?
to do is, because I mean, unfortunately, being based in the UK, we can't just call them up. But I think it's imperative that we chase this case up and we call them. You know, this is a hot case right here.
You know, I think it would be really a good idea to bring in an expert witness in all of this. So, Erek, your significant other, I believe, is a qualified, a fully vetted designer, and
Yes,
may be
yes.
able to help us determine what kind of degree of coincidence this might have been
Okay.
that they made this logo.
Come
or
on,
if
it's
this
a wolf in a moon. It's a wolf in a circle.
I was gonna
I mean,
say
come on,
I was gonna
man.
say it's a pretty obvious thing to make out of a wolf.
As
It's just a sideways wolf, and it makes a little swoop like a lot of it. It's like an obvious.
I know,
choice to
yeah,
make.
that is true.
Yeah.
But when you look at it, I mean, even the little here, I'll flip over again. But even the main, as it were, the way that it flicks in
Yeah.
3 separate places. Like, obviously, it's more minimalistic for this deli design. But like, I don't know,
I mean, come on.
the way
it's like,
the
it's like the same.
I know the
But
eye
again,
the eye has the same attitude. Like, it's like a slit. The way the nose like bumps out. Like, I know it's all
And-
like slightly different, but
and you're right. The mane has like the same like 3 spikes
Yes.
coming out the bottom and stuff.
which that's very
But-
specific. Like, how do you go from wolf
But I
to
mean, we used like the same sort of grid idea probably.
True,
Mhm.
true. I can.
I don't know.
see.
I'm kind of interested to get in touch with them and see who their designer is. And
Yeah,
figure
we'll
out, you
give
know,
them
what-
Eric and I, as your now defendants, I suppose. We'll give them a
Yeah.
call during the week, and
Please do not call.
oh, we've called so many. The Cinnamon
Oh,
Bun
you-
Fiasco of 2020, my friend.
Oh my god.
We will call and we will get to the bottom of it.
What is
and
the cinnamon bun fiasco?
Oh,
You
I
don't know
love
the.
cinnamon
He doesn't know the cinnamon.
He doesn't.
You
You
don't
don't know.
wanna know.
It's a long story, and the bum rubber
let-
story.
Oh,
Don't make me
oh,
relive
yes.
And then there was
the
never
bum rubber
mind.
star. Okay, he looks curious. So let me just tell it in 5
Bum-
seconds. There was
bum
some guy.
rubber?
He was his apartment or flatmate was rubbing his bare bum on his door.
Yeah,
So he got in touch with us, and then we had him all on the phone
Yeah,
and
yeah.
told him basically, knock it
knock
off.
it off. Yeah, quit the rubbing.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
enough is enough.
That's
Oh, so he
And I mean-
wasn't cool with rubbing the
No,
bum on
no,
the
no.
door.
But don't
Okay.
worry,
No,
we cracked that case.
And I made
Yeah.
a song about it too, so it's fine.
That was a butt joke.
Yes, it was.
I got it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I got it.
Absolutely.
His friend was playing Halo the whole time we were on the phone, which isn't a joke. We found it very funny.
That's very rude.
All right, we'll get to the bottom of that. That was good.
Yeah, okay.
I like that.
Yeah, I like.
Just like you got to the bottom of the bum rubbing. Okay.
We did
What I
get
want to ask you,
Yeah.
because you and I don't really talk off air.
hate each other. Yeah.
Ever really, and
Yeah.
it's purely because we want to save conversation for the
Right.
show. What's going on with you, man? You're like destroying Nintendo Switches like left and right this week.
hates
I saw
Nintendo
a
that
video
much.
on Twitter. No context. I'm looking on my phone. I'm just scrolling la-di-da on Twitter, blah blah blah, and there you are,
Yeah.
puncturing a Switch battery with metal tweezers, and I'm thinking, oh my god.
Look,
dude.
Bob said, grab the tweezies. See if you can pry that
did
bad
not say
boy.
The tweezies. Not the tweezies.
It's been a week. I don't. Oh my god. 2.
Let's
I've
hear it.
broken 2. Well, I broke 1.
What happened was he's really starving for content since there's no Switch, there's no direct,
ideas,
so he's
man.
like, I gotta do something. Let me see if I can
There's-
shove these
no,
squeezies in
no.
this Nintendo Switch.
For
This is
one,
an
I've
intervention.
clickbaited broken switches enough. I don't think people are gonna. There's like Boy Who Cried Wolf at Wolf Den at this point.
Wolf Den.
I don't.
You got a third, right? Let's pump these numbers up, baby.
Also, I want to say I did not break the second one. All right, let's get it all out there because people have heard bits and pieces, and I still get people randomly tweet me like, "You should try unplugging the dock for 30 seconds." Let me tell you what's going on here before you start recommending fixes. I broke 1 switch this week. I've had 2 switches break this week, and I cracked my phone screen. It's not been a good week. Rules of threes. I know it sucks. By the way, you know how much it sucks? I brought this Galaxy S9 like a year ago or something, and it was relatively expensive. Now it's worth $100, even if it wasn't cracked. And I'm looking
That's
at
enjoy
the new S20 and 21 are like $1,000, and they're like, "We'll give you $100 trade in if you." What happens? Like in between a couple years, that this essentially becomes a big paperweight.
That's it, man. Like I can tell you because I have firsthand experience with all this stuff. Like the parts become really expensive because the Samsung stuff uses OLED screens. They're not easy to. Well, they are easy to fix. You know what I mean? But if you're kind of the right guy, and then technology advances so quick.
That was another
I
phone
don't
call
know.
actually, but Bob missed out on.
Oh yeah, I know, right? But anyway, that's what.
Anyway.
It is. So you have to get yourself a new phone now.
I do. It's actually going to be probably cheaper to buy $1,000 new phone than try and fix this one. But anyway, the first switch.
You should try to fix it.
Oh God!
Get the Sweezies out. Come on.
There he goes again. I'm telling you.
What could possibly go wrong?
Oh my God.
Puncture another battery.
All right, let me get this out.
How hard could it be?
I was testing Amazon products on the first Switch. My Mario Red one, which I regret. People asking, why'd you use that one? I'm an idiot. I really thought this was going to work. I did a test on the case. I ran it under some water. The water ran off like water off a dog's back. I was like, great, perfect. Filled up a big jug of water. Had a little bit of tea in there too because Kim was drinking tea. Didn't worry about that. And I just dunked my Switch in with the case and it got completely waterlogged. Like I opened the case and the Switch was like,
I can't believe it.
I know, right? I was lied to. Waterproof and water resistant are two very different things and they need to say that on the website. But anyway, I was like, it'll probably be fine. Like Switches get wet, right? People spill things on their Switch. This will be okay. I was fine to just leave it off for a day. Some people were screaming at me to put it in rice, but then like most of the internet says that's a myth. So
no, it isn't totally. Okay, can I just interject here? Putting things in rice does nothing. For phones anyway. Rice cannot draw moisture out of phones.
Yeah, I didn't see how that works.
People literally would bring phones into me when I worked at the phone and computer repair store. Like, oh, I can't charge it. And then you look in the charge port. There's a grain of rice in there. So you flick that out with some tweezers. You open it up. It's waterlogged. Everything's all corroded and rusted in there. It's like, oh, well, you don't put it in rice. That worked. No.
So I wasn't going to put it in rice. I was just going to leave it. And then I asked Spawn, and SpawnWave told me, yeah, you got to crack that sucker up and take the battery out. And I was like, oh, okay. And then Bob rated me on the Twitch stream that I was on and was like, yeah, that battery, that's got to come out. Grab your nearest pliers. I was like,
didn't say the
pliers. I was like, all right, fine. Like all the chat was peer pressuring me. So I opened this thing up. And sure enough, the battery is super glued in there with like 10 times Gorilla Glue. And there's this video online, and I'm calling them out right now, and I'll probably call them out in a video. What's the channel, Bob? I Fix It? I want to get it right. I Fix It has this
the ones who make my toolkit
2-minute tutorial on how to pop out the battery with a little bit of like they were using like an expired hotel card that swipes on the door. They were just like, there it goes, out, right? Easy.
Yeah, a little spudger.
And that's why I was like, pop that sucker right out.
It's
all
a
you
lie.
gotta do is search up a credit card.
You can't take it out like that. The only way to take it out like that is if you melt or dissolve all the glue underneath, but that was conveniently left out of the video. And if you watch the video, you can see where they've done it already. You can see where they've rubbed down the Switch and it's like got marks from like the alcohol, but they left that part out conveniently to make it look easy. Why this helps them in any way, I don't know. But there's me bending my GameStop card in half. Then I grab a plastic pair of whatever. I try using that snaps. Then out of pure desperation, as my face is bright red and my sweat's dripping down into the Switch and waterlogging it for a second time, I'm like, I'll just grab these tweezers because they had a nice little groove in them. What I didn't realize, I hadn't used these before, they're really sharp at the end. And when I bent down and pushed up, it pierced the battery, and the battery exploded, like kind of sparked out and exploded, and then this massive trail of smoke followed it. And the battery started heating up, and I
didn't know that part.
Yeah,
I thought the metal contact hit something on the board or something.
I just punctured the battery.
Oh,
I've done that before, though. I've done that in iPads with like a metal spudger because back in my day, I used to use the metal spudger because I had pretty good hands with getting batteries out. For,
you did.
Bigger iPad batteries. Oh yeah. But there was times where I would pry up and you would hear, and then I'd have to throw the iPad back outside. And it would just be smoke, and the smell was awful.
Well, credit to AU Retriever from my Twitch chat who was screaming at me in DMs, take that Switch outside right now because it might blow up like a grenade any second. So it stayed out on the grill all night. It was fine. But I took it into the store the next day, and the guy was just laughing at me.
Oh, can I get warranty on that, man? Something's wrong. I don't know.
What the heck was that? Anyone else hear that?
I didn't hear anything.
Oh, never mind. Sorry. This will get edited out. Apparently, I have a thing open on my computer where people have sound effects they can play, and they just played one, and it scared me. Sorry, we'll edit that out in post, or maybe not. It's funny.
That's fine.
Anyway, so I took that Switch in. That was all said and done. I don't actually blame anyone. I don't actually blame Blob. I don't actually
Wow.
blame
Yep, that's fine.
Bab.
Keep going.
I find it funny in a way. Like I knew I shouldn't have been doing it. I just kind of felt like something bad was going to happen if I didn't. That Switch was probably dead anyway, let's be honest. It wasn't turning on. So that's said and done. It's in the shop. The next day, I spend all day with my other Switch, the one that I modded with the clear case. It was my first version 2 Switch with the better battery before I upgraded to Mario. I spent the whole day downloading my games. I had to go on Nintendo's website and deregister my broken console because that's the only way to do it, apparently. And if you don't have the console with you, you have to go on the website. You can do it once per year. You can deregister a console if you lose it. So I did that, and I got it on my new Switch, downloaded all my games, got all my cloud saves. I was like, great. Then last night, I was like, okay, let's play something. Downloaded Eastwood. Really excited to play that game. If you haven't played it, it's amazing so far. I put my Switch into the dock, and then I have this $100 really expensive Pro Controller that I shouted out in a video and said it's the best controller for Switch. I needed to sync that with the new Switch because it was synced to the old one. So I plugged it into the dock. As soon as I did that, the TV went black and the Switch threw back from the TV back to the Switch. It wasn't projecting anymore and it wasn't charging anymore. I believe in that moment, plugging in that controller threw something in my Switch and it refused to hold charge from there. I don't know if it's the USB, if it's the battery, but it's not holding charge. It's still got charge right now, but it's running out, and eventually, once it's done, it's going to be dead, and I don't know why. We opened it on stream. I tried a couple things. It just seems like, I don't know how this happened, but like within 72 hours of each other, I broke 2 Switches.
And the weirdest part of that whole story is that you're still using that controller. Because you sent a picture of you using it 2 seconds
Yeah,
ago.
I synced it via Bluetooth the third time. I was not plugging it into the dock again. It's such a nice controller.
It probably was more of an underlying issue with that Switch, like because I'm guessing you've already opened it before.
I did once. Yeah,
there may be something wrong. Yeah, there may be something wrong with like the internals. Like it's not.
It's
probably a chip.
I only opened off the back plate. I never went into the Switch. So
okay.
So the Switch has such wonky power delivery issues that there's just like I don't think it's PowerA's fault, although it could be a little bit, but I think it's more Nintendo's fault that like just anything that draws power from the dock or that draws power to the Switch could get a weird sort of communication error and put way too much voltage or way too little voltage, and that's why you have all these problems. Because there's no like standard. It just the Switch kind of just does whatever it wants in terms of drawing power.
Is that why you're not supposed to use third-party docks?
Probably
yes.
not.
Yes, because the third-party docks don't know what Nintendo's doing to draw the power.
Right.
They just use USPD protocol, the power delivery standard protocol, which should be safe, but Nintendo isn't great at developing this stuff. So like we don't know if it's that great, really.
I'm gonna be scared to ever plug anything into the dock again. That Switch was pretty much new. I really only used it for like a year at most. I'm heartbroken.
So what do you do then?
What do I do now?
Okay, so like with that particular Switch, if you take that to GameStop, for example, and you try to, I don't know, claim warranty or whatever, are they going to look at that and be like, oh, well, you've opened this up. You've changed
Yeah,
the
I think I've
Nintendo
definitely...
should absolutely fix that under warranty.
Really?
You did
For
open it
sure.
up. But I mean, you didn't break any seals inside of it. You opened it up.
I mean, I'd be sending it in with a clear case that I clearly modified the entire thing. And
Is the back clear? You're screwed. Then.
Yeah, I
Good
know.
luck.
Also, I threaded some screws, and it's very obvious. So,
Because that is totally Nintendo's fault at that.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I mean,
honestly,
but I'm pretty sure it's Nintendo's fault.
If I hadn't have already opened that Switch, but previously, I wouldn't have opened it last night. I would have left it closed and probably tried sending it off to Nintendo. At this point, my plan is to wait and see if this store that's fixing my current Switch can fix it. Because if they can, I'm gonna go in to pick it up and be like, okay, this one now, and see what they say. But if they can, I'll be like, well, do you have any idea what's waterlogged or what's damaged? Or can you take this Switch and kind of Franken-switch it with the other one? And out of these 2 broken ones, can you create one whole one? Preferably the Mario Red one if you can.
Probably not, though, because if there's an issue with like the charging chip or the power delivery chip on the one that's fried as a result of that third-party controller. I mean, that's it, I guess. But
Don't tell me that.
I don't. Well, the brain's got to send the signals somewhere, and if the brains are, I mean, it can be fixed. But anyway, that's whatever.
I vaguely remember something like this happening to me, and all I did was power cycle it, wait
Right.
a little bit. I might have waited for it to die completely, and then it just
That's
took
my
a charge
that's my
miraculously
current
one
plan
day.
right now. I was thinking like now that I deregistered that Switch before the battery died, maybe I should just let the battery completely die and then try charging it and see if that resets it. The reason why I opened it up is because I was unhooking the battery to see if that would reset it, and it didn't. And what's
Right.
really weird
I
is
think that was a good move.
again,
Yeah, it
and
was.
man, people are still going to suggest things, but yes, I restarted, I reinitialized it, I did all that, and I've tried multiple charge cords, and I've tried multiple docks, and I've tried Kim's Switch in all of those, and my other Switch in all of those. It's all working perfect. It's 100% something wrong with the Switch. So hopefully once it completely dies, I'll try charging it. If that doesn't work, what's weird
Make sure you
is
charge it with an actual charger, not the
yeah.
dock.
What's weird is with the two docks I have, one dock won't recognize the Switch at all, the black one, but the red one will try to charge it for like 2 seconds, and then it will say unable to charge, and then the light will start flashing on it. So like two different docks will have two different reactions to it, which I find
I
weird.
think the docks receive updates, so maybe one of them's updated and one of
Yeah,
them's
well,
not.
the red one's a newer one, so maybe it has something better in it that's trying.
Yeah.
This is how they get you to buy the new one, man.
That's how
I'm very
that's how they
curious to
get
see if the new dock is going to have any sort of power
It does.
difference, but it looks exactly the same.
It does
on the
seem
inside
like,
of
for
this.
me at least,
on the
Nintendo's like,
backside.
oh, that OLED's coming out in 2 weeks. Hit the self-destruct button. Just
Yeah.
switches around the world.
Yeah.
What are the odds that Nintendo is the one who made that quote unquote waterproof
Yeah,
case?
yeah. They pushed it to me. Hey, try this waterproof case.
I'm sorry, but
So
don't ever buy
I
that.
also had a waterproof case, but when I tested it, I put a piece of paper in it and dunked that in because I didn't trust that thing.
Well, that's
for-
boring. What
for-
kind of content is that? Come on now.
Yeah, you're
Nothing
right.
ventured, nothing
You're
gained.
right.
If you're not
That's why
breaking
you got
switches
the
for a
2
video.
million subs.
Hey, 1.3. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm
Plus-
so sorry.
plus I
Oh,
lose-
only 1.3.
Plus,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
lose
what
a
am I
few
doing on this
hundred every
podcast?
time I upload.
Give me
so
50 bucks.
I gotta.
Hey, I got 2,700, man. Don't mean to brag, but
Shit.
Speaking of $50, did you want to talk about that at the start of before
Yeah,
we
give me
started
money.
the
What's
show?
up, dude?
You
Why
seemed.
am I on here for free?
Did you see the tweet? Should we talk about drama?
I did see the tweet. Yes.
We won't call anyone out. It's mostly because I don't remember even the name of the person. I just saw it because RGT retweeted it. But some guy was getting flack on Twitter. I feel bad for saying some guy, but it's probably best we don't mention, so it's not out of disrespect.
No, it's just some guy.
It's
Like, I
just
don't
some
think he's,
guy.
like, yeah.
the other guy.
Someone reached out to him and asked that if he could be on their podcast, and he said his rates is $50 to $100 for an appearance on a podcast. And then the
For
guy
real,
he reached
yeah.
out to swore him out and said, off. Off because he was
All you
like,
just
that's
say is
outrageous.
off.
Like, why would I ever pay anyone to be on my podcast, kind of thing. And then this guy took to Twitter and was like, lol, this guy wouldn't pay me. And then the replies to that were pretty mixed, as you can imagine. Bob, as someone who was on this podcast for free, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. What are your
my
thoughts?
manager screwed up again.
What
Come
are
on,
your
dude.
thoughts on that?
So I like get it because like time is valuable and the dude wants to be paid for his time, and I get that. But first of all, $50 to $100, like part of it is that he thinks he's bringing something. Like part of the tweet was, I'm bringing views to this because of
Yeah.
my audience.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's only worth $50 to $100 to you.
Yeah.
Like if it's only worth $50 to $100 to you, then why are you even charging at all? It's
Yeah.
like
It's not worth it.
That doesn't seem
No.
worth it. Also, I'm pretty sure guests on talk shows don't get paid by the talk show at all. They
Yeah.
get paid by their management or whatever they're like the production company of the movie they're trying to promote, or their book company. Like if they're promoting a book,
Yep.
the publisher gives them a fee for, or they require them to have a certain amount of showings or something.
Mhm.
So the talk shows don't pay actual celebrities. Why should podcasts pay us internet celebrities? You know?
Yeah. No,
It's kind of like a mutual agreement. Like I'm going to go on to promote
Right.
myself, and then I'll promote your podcast. You know,
exactly. It's
And
a
if you,
it's
and if
a
you don't like the
cross-promotion.
person and you don't want to promote their podcast, then just don't go on the friggin' podcast.
Yep. That's
Exactly.
exactly right.
And that's that's a good example of what we're doing here. I mean, you're here and helping me, and I can.
I wanted some money though. out of it.
I get that, but you're not getting any. But I can see like that even the live viewers right now are a little higher than they normally are. And
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
That's because you're here.
Yeah,
and
and I should be compensated for that.
and you should be compensated for that, and you will be in the form of you have your own podcast, and now everyone that didn't know that in my audience are going to be very
Should
aware
listen.
of that, and we'll probably
YouTube.com/Wolfden Podcast.
Exactly.
Also Twitch.tv/Wolfden every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern time.
And the
Thank
extra-
you very much.
the extra viewers
Yeah.
that you're bringing in for us, there's probably an equivalent of people that are now going to go and check out your show. That's the give and take. There's also an
Let me tell
episode
you.
that I was in. If you want to start there, there's an episode with Wood from Beat 'em Ups on the Wolf Den podcast.
There it is.
Like in
It
terms
sure
of
is.
visibility, like I understand that, but it also depends on maybe who it is, what the
Yes.
podcast
Yes.
is, or what the show is.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So, for example, let's just say as an example, the time that you and I did like a co-stream, I was in the bathtub, you were in a
Yeah.
hot tub or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I mean,
I watched
like
some of that.
It was
I got
fun.
like 300 followers, one of which was Mr. Bob Wolf Den, which was great. So, like in terms
I
of
just followed
visibility,
you
it's-
now.
Well, no, I mean on Twitch.
Oh yes, I
but-
did follow you on Twitch then.
Um,
Yes, that is.
But you know what I mean? In terms of visibility, it's like I don't need to be compensated for that because you're giving me viewers, you know what I mean?
Right.
Or potential viewers anyway. So I don't know. I can get it. Yeah, as Bob says, time is valuable for sure.
Yeah,
But
like
it's a visibility thing,
to add to it as well, because we've done one side of it, which is the give and take side, and with like, bye Bob.
I don't know my air. It's hot. Hot.
Oh,
with
okay.
with like this situation right here, what we have to give to each other is very comparable, and neither of us need to be compensated. But that's very specific. If a channel, I get reached out to a lot to be on other podcasts. I would feel terrible on a smaller podcast to have a smaller audience saying, okay, but I need to be compensated for my time. That's awkward. It's awful. So I just turn them down instead. Because I don't.
Well, it's not worth it. And also, would you rather get $100, $50 to $100 for that time? No, your
It's not
time is
worth
worth
it.
more
No,
than that.
my time is honestly worth more than that. If I'm
Yeah.
not working on something for me and my channel and my content, I'm taking time off and I'm like actually enjoying something with Kim more than likely, or like watching movies or something, like me time. So if you're gonna take some me time, or you're gonna take some time away from my job where I have sponsors and commitments and everything, it needs to be compensated. And 50 to 100 is like, it's kind of just like, just give me something, which just kind of feels scummy. So it's
cheap.
It's better to just kind of turn it
yeah.
down. That said, if we were to reach out to someone to be on the podcast, let's say we wanted Nolan North on the podcast, or
Yeah.
I don't know. So that's when it would probably be like I'd have to ask my manager from my MCN, hey, do you have any contacts? Can you reach out? Like, how much do they cost? Like, that would be a whole different situation, and it's probably going to end up costing us like $1,000 to get them on. So
I can think of one other scenario maybe where like maybe somebody's a public speaker and that's how they make their money is like by
Sure.
speaking to crowds and people, and in a situation like that where that's legitimately just like asking someone to do work for free. I mean, then I think it's an acceptable point to be like, yeah, well, I mean, my speaking fees are this much, so could you provide, some sort of compensation, and then I'd be happy to be on the podcast or something like that.
I think that's the problem, is that this was literally just like a guy who
Yeah,
just a
has
guy.
his own podcast. Like, he didn't have a big following or anything. And he was like kind of talking down to the other people, like, because they have small numbers. I hate
yeah,
talking about numbers with other
Yeah.
like content creaters.
yeah, you
And
actually
every
do.
single time I meet somebody like at a convention or something, they always wheeze. Every single one I've ever met weasels it in some way, and then I go, "Oh, I thought we were hanging out. Like, I thought we were just hanging. I thought we were just
No.
two dudes hanging." Then you had to
Bob-
freaking mention your sub count.
Bob
Had to fart in
does.
the elevator.
Bob does have a weird thing about that, and I caught the brunt of that once when I was
What
fresh.
happened?
When I was fresh faced on Twitch, like a year or so ago, I started streaming, and I was like a couple months in, and I messaged you, and I was like, "Hey, how many subs do
I
you
remember
have?"
this now.
Because like I wanted to
And
know,
I freaked out.
you
I, like,
freaked out.
on
You
Wood.
and this wasn't even like we were hanging out having a conversation. I was just like, "How many subs do you have?" And you Like, I could tell, like, I crossed the line.
I said, why don't I just tell you how much I make, huh?
Yeah, I
But
was
now
like,
I have my sub count on screen.
oh my God, Bob. You made me feel so bad. I was like, okay, here's the boundary in this friendship.
Okay, we need more context here. You have a weird thing with goals, like number goals. Like you love to talk about like
I'm
view count and
super
like
open.
concurrent viewers and stuff.
I've always been open. Even if you look at when I was doing Patreon more actively.
No, but I mean you like compare yourself to other people.
Yeah.
Like when we're talking in the DMs. That's why I'm like, all right, he's gonna just do that with me now.
Yeah, but it's not.
That's why you asked me how many subs I had, because you wanted to compare it to how many subs you had, and I was like,
I wanted to know how I was going on the platform. I wanted to know if
Right.
I was doing well. It was nothing about
understand.
comparing me or making one of us feel bad. And
it's like I do this with my mom all the time. My mom is always like, "Oh, how much was that sponsorship? Or how much was this? Or how much did you get paid for this?" And I'm always like, "Or how much was that thing you bought, Mom? If I tell you the price, it's either going to be astronomical or not enough. It's never going to be just
right.
normal."
Just be like,
So
Mom,
I just
how much
don't.
do you
I just
think it
hate
should have
talking
been?
numbers with people.
I
because of
Mom,
that.
how much do you think it should have been? And then you say, oh, yeah, that's how much
Yeah,
it was.
that.
That's
Yeah, that's
what it
impressive.
was.
Great.
That's a good idea.
I'm very different with like family or like friends outside of content creating. I don't like talking about it at all. I don't like getting into it at all because it's weird. Like you wouldn't go to like any friend that you have like right outside and be like, so how much do you make? Like that's just kind of it's weird. But with fellow content creators, I kind of feel like we're all in this together and everyone is so different. Like, for example, Jordan Fringe, a really good buddy of mine, we actually got into a really big conversation in DMs yesterday about how much he makes with sponsors and how much I make with sponsors because we were trying to figure out what we should be charging. Like, he was asking, like, when you were my size, what did you charge? And I was like, compared to, because he works with a bunch of channels and he knows their numbers, I'm like, how do I compare to them? Because there's no guide, there's no line, there's nothing, there's nowhere to go.
I was just gonna bring that up because that is helpful. We've had conversations like that before, where we have similar sponsors on a lot of stuff, and a lot of times you'll be like, how much did they pay you? And then I'll tell you, and you're like, oh, they paid me this much. And like, it is
the
actually
attitude
helpful.
I have at all.
You literally say it like that.
No,
like
no, no.
Freaking joke.
Okay, for starters, whenever do we do voice text? We're always texting and messages. Whatever
No,
tone
like,
you convey.
When we're Discord calling after we do something,
My God, I do not have that attitude at all.
you literally have that intonation. Oh, they paid me this much.
I do not. Come
I
on.
swear to God, I wish I had
do
recordings
not.
of this.
Let's
But
talk.
no, I think the problem is when like that's helpful because like
Yes.
you know we're different sizes and
Yes.
it makes total sense that would happen. The problem is when you're talking to another content creator and they just bring up like view count or sub count or something just out of the blue for no reason.
those are
as like
just-
a flex.
It's
Yeah.
uncalled for sometimes.
Yeah,
in
it's
certain
just like I
scenarios.
don't care about that. I just thought we were just two bros hanging out talking about
I mean,
video
okay.
games and stuff.
Look at this. So, like, I put up a video the other day. It's at 190 views. That's way more than I normally get. I'm proud of that. It might be considered a flex in some standards, but whatever.
Congrats,
like,
man.
yeah, I know that's the thing. But like, I understand. Like, if I go to, I've let's just say I meet Wood at a convention at Too Many Games or whatever in the next couple of weeks. I'm like, hey, I just started a YouTube channel and now I'm up to 2 million subs, man. Like, how about you? What about it's like all of a sudden it's like then I'm talking somebody down, and I've only just met them. You know what I mean?
In that case, it's more like I grew by this much. You don't have to say like I get a million views a video now.
Sure, yeah.
What do you do?
Also,
you
let
know?
the other person bring it up too. Like, because the other person
Yes.
knows.
Yes.
If you're friends, they know. And they'll say, hey,
Oh, yeah.
congratulations on, like, Eric, I did with you in the Kickstarter. I was like, congratulations on, taking down the Kickstarter. It's not like you came into the chat like, I raised this much money for the Kickstarter.
It's just a little bit of a pet peeve of mine for when I meet other creators when they bring up just like a weird social media.
That would
flex.
be for me too, but I don't think that compares to me thinking that we're really good friends and me just asking like, hey, how many subs do you have? Because I'm super open.
again, the context was I was like, this guy is gonna try to compare us,
It's
or
not.
he's gonna try to flex or something. That was why I like freaked out.
You mentioned that I compare.
Because I've heard you compare your numbers to other people. And
I
get, like, upset
compare
about
myself
it. And
to
I know that you have an
everyone.
issue with that.
I have a complex
Yeah, that's a
where I
problem.
compare myself to everyone, but it doesn't bother me mentally. It doesn't. I'm
not sure about that.
Sometimes it does. I don't compare
think you get
myself.
really upset
I don't
sometimes, yeah.
compare myself to see who's better or who's worse, or to make myself feel better about, or like be on top of this person. It's because
no. I think you do it to make yourself feel worse, and I'm serious about that.
Sometimes. But the thing is,
Yeah.
in our workplace, like, there is no guide, there is no promotions, there is no you're doing well, you're doing bad. So without taking examples from other people, other content creators, and how well they're doing or how well they might not be currently doing, that's all I really have to go on. Like, for example, if I put out a video that bombs, I message you, I'm like, hey, how'd your video do today? It's not because I'm trying to compare myself to you, it's because, and you know what I'm talking about, it happened recently, you're like, yeah, mine bombed too. And then it's, to me, it's like, okay, good. It's just today. It's just a crappy day.
Conversations like that are totally helpful.
And that's the ones I get into.
It's different when it's like, I made a video on this thing, and this person made a video on this thing, and he's got 1 million views, and I only have 900,000 views. And it's like, okay, shut up, dude.
Yeah, I don't do
You're
that.
two different people. Like, it did good for him, it didn't for you. It's not a big deal.
I don't do
Well,
that.
for me, it's always good because, like, I know, Wood, and I know a very small number of other YouTubers. So it's like, because my channel is significantly smaller, it's always good to be able to ask for advice. It's like, what can I do? Okay, maybe change your thumbnails, or look into vidIQ, which is something that Wood put me onto a few months ago. So like things like that are very helpful. You know what I mean? When I can ping other people to help my channel grow as well. So that's I've always like kind of being buddy in that regard.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I think that's incredibly helpful to have friends who are content creators to be able to bounce ideas off each other, no matter how big or small the content creators are. I think there is some weird territory when you're at like a convention or something, and you have like an influencer trying to give advice to a smaller influencer completely unsolicited.
Yeah.
And I've also gotten into some fights there also. Like, hey, maybe that person just doesn't want to hear your advice. Did you ever think about that? Maybe they're just totally comfortable where they are. Like, it's not everybody wants to be like a 10 million subscriber Andy,
I can't say I've personally got into those. Honestly, when I'm at conventions and stuff, I'm like you. I don't like talking about that stuff at all. I just want to be in the moment and play some games or whatever.
I love talking shop about YouTube. I love
it.
With
When usually talking shop about YouTube comes later that night in the hotel room when you're sat down like on the bed with a bunch of people in the room and you're drinking a beer or something, and someone's like, "Hey, so the algorithm lately," like it's a little different.
Yeah. It's technical. But when there's weird flexes thrown in, it's like, all right, this is the YouTuber ego talking.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Someone
to go back to the whole
Dominion.
To go back to the whole podcast appearance thing.
Oh yeah, that's how we started this.
That's how we started.
Forgot about that.
I only like, it doesn't matter like the size of the podcast or anything to me. I do it because I just like to hang out with the people who are on the podcast.
Right.
If I don't know the people, I'm probably going to turn down the podcast.
100%.
I just want to hang out with the people. It's not.
That's
not
true.
like a. For me, it's. I mean, it's good to have like that little handshake. Like I bring viewers in, they bring viewers to me. But for the most part, it's just, is it worth my time to hang out with these people?
Yeah, 100%.
Then I'm gonna do it.
It's also like a safety thing too. Like and this is a different tangent, but I have a brand. I have like 1.3 million subs, as we talked about. That's not a flex. It's just what we talked about. I have a brand, and you kind of have to be careful with that brand. Like, what if I end up on a podcast where they're swearing like sailors, or like talking about who knows
This
what,
is true.
and then I'm stuck in the middle of it.
Or you get up with a guy, and he makes you try some ROM hacks, and all of a sudden Nintendo doesn't like you anymore.
Yeah, that was a thing. Thank you. I appreciate
Too
that.
soon.
So when it comes to like you or Arlo or the Spawncast or those, and they're like, hey, can you make time? If I have time, I'm gonna make it. And I'm trying to get on Arlo's podcast. We've been trying to do it for like 2 weeks, but I'm going to be on it eventually. And I ain't gonna ask for any money. But when it comes to like, yes, I get reached out a lot by these smaller podcasts that are like 1 or 2 episodes in or whatever, or even if they've been doing it for a long time, and they're like, hey, can you be on the show? And I'm like, I don't know anything about you. I don't like really have the time, and then it is awkward. And yeah, I definitely wouldn't say, okay, I'll do it, but $50. If I'm doing it, I'm doing it.
Right.
I'm not. I'll do it, but $50.
I got a lot of people in my chat who are like, why don't you go on this podcast? Or why don't you have this person on your podcast? I get that more. And most of the time, the answer is, I don't know that person.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
like, I don't want to like reach out to them. And
It's
have them on the
actually
podcast.
impossible, well, improbably hard to reach out to other content creators if they're not in your circle. Like, I don't know if it
Yeah,
seems
right,
like
yes.
that would be an easy thing to do, but like, just because we technically work under the same umbrella, I have no way of knowing how to get in contact with them. And maybe I can bounce through like 3 different friends to get there, but then it's like, hey, person I don't
really
know,
indirect.
want to come talk with me for an hour and a half?
Yeah.
It's really true. I'm like, I get that, and if somebody does say yes to that, then it might be a chance for you to network and then maybe form a new friendship as a result. But sometimes it can be a bit off-putting if it's like, hey, do you want to come be on my show, or actually more so, can I be on your show? You know, like inviting
Yeah.
myself to be on your
Yeah.
podcast. Then it gets a bit like, I don't know, sketchy.
I'll tell you why that I've been scared of doing like collabs in general. This one thing happened to me once, and it's totally like demolished anyone else's chances. It was live at a convention. I was at Retropalooza, and this is a huge pet peeve of mine. Please do not do this. I swear to God, like there's so many things you can do with me when you meet me, but this is not one. When people come up with a camera ready to go, hey, can we film a video real quick?
Oh no.
I can't stand it. Or like, hey, can we interview you
God.
real quick? That's a big one. Hey, can I interview you real quick?
No.
I hate it. I've done it for people before. Even people I like, even friends. Like we've had people like when I was in the retro gaming community and even a smaller channel. Like, and this isn't me getting a big head. When I had like 3,000 subs, I was at a convention and someone was. This is a different story. This is a normal story. They were like, hey, can we interview you really quickly? And they were friends of mine, friends of Billy's. I was like, okay. And you can tell in the video I was like zoned out because I need to be like in the mood to film. Like I
Yeah.
need to be in the zone to make a video. I can't just like turn it on. Like it needs to be a whole process. And when I'm in the middle of like, hey, how you going? Hey, how you going? Yeah, I'll sign that. How you going? You think you want to buy a shirt? Hey, can you do this interview real quick? It's like, are you serious? Like I'm kind of, but anyway,
In something else.
huge pet peeve. But this one group of like 3 kids came up to me. It was end of a con. There was no one else at the table. I was actually like not doing anything, and they were like, can we film something? I was like, no, sorry, I don't want to. And they were like, it'll take like 10 seconds. We'll ask you a couple questions. I was like, no, sorry, and they were like, oh dude, like 10 seconds. And I was like, okay, fine. As soon as it started, and I can't even repeat all the things that they said, but they were like, Wood, so are you a foot guy or an ASS guy? They said the whole thing. And I was like, pass. And they were like, oh, so you don't have a foot, FETI, whatever. I'm not even making this up. And I was like,
Yeah.
pass. And they were like, okay, if you could SE one person, I was like, pass. And I just passed like 10 things in a row. It got really,
right.
really, really awkward. And then eventually I was like, okay, thanks. And I walked off. I was
Yeah.
like, never again am I ever saying yes to anyone I don't know, because that was
Yeah.
so embarrassing, so cringe. And again, I have a family-friendly brand. You can't ask me those questions.
Yep.
Yeah. What
happens if
and
your
I didn't know
sponsors
That
do
was
exactly what they were
probably their
doing.
point.
It was definitely
Yeah,
their
they
point.
wanted it to be cringe.
And like
yeah.
they don't get it, like, you know. And at that point I was a smaller channel, but now I got sponsors, I have brands,
Yep.
I have people that I work with. You know, if you try something like that with me, you are risking hurting my brand. You are risking hurting what I'm doing, and like, no. So yeah,
I just like to point out that Trevor Steinberg in the chat, friend of the show, viewer, high tier viewer of mine, says Bob is a foot guy for sure. Am I a mod here?
um,
Yep, turns out I am. Great, fantastic. All right, you can carry on.
okay, cool. I will keep going on. Anyway, yeah.
Stamped him out.
About the podcast, maybe don't try and charge people for your time, and if they end up swearing at you, which is very unprofessional, just be thankful that you did try and charge them and you didn't go on their podcast in the first place, I guess.
Now you got me scared to go to too many games. This is like the first convention in like a year and a half.
I actually wrote on the Google Doc for the show convention etiquette. We don't really have an insane amount of time left in the show, but I was thinking about
I'm
like,
sorry.
no, you're fine. I was thinking
That's
like
fine.
this is gonna be awkward. Like, what is your plan for too many games?
I don't honestly have no freaking idea, but they did send us like a form to fill out and
Yeah.
like what we're comfortable with because
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, do you want to like shake hands and whatever. And one of the questions was, do you charge for autographs? And I
Yeah.
wrote, no, I'm not Lou Ferrigno.
Yeah, I like when you
he's like one of the guys that charges at Comic-Con.
when you go to the website, it'll tell you who charges, and it's literally like every YouTuber is
It's-
like, no.
Well, yeah, it's only Charles Martinet.
Yeah.
He's the only one who charges.
Can you
for
imagine
Erek.
if there was like one YouTuber down there? You know, maybe at like the
Well, actually,
100,000
is
sub,
one-
and they were like, yes, $50.
there is one that charges. I forgot who it is.
Really?
He charges $20, but it says for charity.
Oh,
Okay.
that's awesome.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
That's
How is
cool,
that being
yeah.
regulated, though? Is my question.
It's kind of like leave me alone, but if you want to bother me, you have to give money to charity, which I like. Totally
I kind of
respect
like that actually. I recently paid Steve Wozniak $400 to do a cameo, and that was for charity.
I saw that. I didn't know
Yeah.
it was $400.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
It was like a 5-minute cameo though. And by the way, amazing guy. I don't know what I wrote in the thing, but he went and Googled my YouTube channel, and it's like a 5-minute rant of him talking about my channel and my Switch and what got me into gaming, what got him into gaming, and his Atari.
God.
Like he went on a whole like 5-minute spiel. Like Kim and I were like,
He
wow,
loves the
this is-
podcast. You know what I mean?
he loves the podcast. Steve
Yeah.
Wozniak approved. Yeah, he was awesome. Anyway,
That's awesome.
I've essentially said to everyone coming to see me, please wear a mask. And I'll be in Philly
Mm-hmm.
for too many games and Metropalooza for in October. Please wear a mask, and let's not shake hands or hug or anything like that. Just come
Fist
like
bumps only.
relatively
Yeah.
close.
Oh God.
Not even
I think
not
I
even
said,
fist
I
bumps
think I said
only.
fine for handshakes for me, but no hugs.
I'm not
normally
doing
I'm
handshakes.
Cool, but
I'm not
but
doing
you know what it
handshakes.
is? I'm cool with hugs normally, but I don't want to invite that energy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like I
exactly.
don't want people. I don't want
Yeah.
people to know that I'm cool with hugs.
I
So
just I'm
that I'm
not
not.
I just
Cat's
can't
out of the
do
bag now.
the handshake thing isn't even
Also,
like
COVID. Like, leave me alone.
well, that's the thing. I was all covered. But
Yeah.
the thing with
That's
the
kind of
handshakes,
kind of the biggest deal.
it's not even like COVID. Like, oh, I think you have COVID. It's like it's been 2 years since I've shaken someone's hand, and I'm paranoid. Like, I don't
Yeah,
want
no,
to
I get
touch
it.
Yeah.
another person. I don't know. Like, I've just built up this like phobia to it now. But also, I've done a lot of conventions, and like, there's like a 70% chance the hand is going to be sweaty because they're like really nervous about meeting you, and that's fine normally. I'm like, okay, sweaty, nervous hand. But going like post-COVID, sweaty, nervous hand is going to scare me. So.
I've gotten
Yeah.
pretty good. I used to get sick after every single convention.
I
because you're
usually
just
get
talking to
sick
so many
too.
people, meeting people.
The PAX
I've
PAX
I've
Pox.
stopped. I've learned to get over that. What I do is I sleep a lot and get there really late. I don't try to get there too early.
No.
I bring a lot of Purell. I'm always Purelling and washing
Bringing
my hands
that,
whenever
yes.
I can, and I
Taking my
drink a
mask.
lot of water, and that usually
Always.
Flush it out.
that
Always.
usually gets me good. But now we have COVID is a little different.
Yeah. That it's a 3-day con. I've told them I can't go Friday. I'm gonna minimize my days there. I'm Saturday and
That's
Sunday.
the day the Switch comes out.
I know. I'm actually gonna. Another reason was I'm staying in Texas for most of the day and catching an 8 p.m. flight so that I can get
Ooh.
all the Switch stuff out.
Yeah.
And the Dread stuff if I need. If I don't probably won't do Dread. I'll just do OLED on that day. And then I'm there Saturday
Same.
and Sunday. I do have a table, but I told them I'd probably like come late, like dip out early. Like I don't really know what I will do. But I also have a panel, which is cool. You can come see the panel. Also, we got announced, by the way, you were fine with it, but I had a little bit of like a, oh, really? Because they've been announcing guests, you know, not comparing myself to anyone like I always
Here
do.
you go again.
But
We're
Scott,
at the friggin-
Scott the Was got a nice tweet with a nice big picture. Charles Martinet got a nice big tweet. And then we get this little, by the
Oh,
way,
I'm sorry.
by the
Are you
way-
Charles Martinet.
by the way, Bob Wulff and Wood from Beat 'em Ups will be at Too Many Games, and our pictures were like squished next to each other. Like here they go.
I was told that they wanted to announce us together for some reason, and I don't really care.
That's kind of cute, I guess. What do they think?
Buddy,
Like
buddy.
people would get confused.
Look at the
Yeah.
photos.
I think people would get confused. Like we probably should announce them together so that people are aware they are two different people, and that we're not announcing the same person twice.
Beautiful photo of Bob there with with his nice little.
Two very
Uh,
different vibes.
And then you, it's just like, oh, I just broke my Switch.
That was before the Switch too. Yeah, someone
I saw
photoshopped that, and I
that.
was not happy.
Great. I love it.
For the audio listeners, someone replaced my photo in the promo with my Switch on fire. I love that it still says beat 'em ups at the bottom. Like beat 'em ups. Like this is me now. By the way, I didn't say this, but I was on I'll Watch People Die Inside with 300,000 views and 15,000 upvotes on Reddit.
And you were on Dextero.
And
Somebody
I was
sent
on
me the link
Yeah.
on Dextero.
I don't even know what that website is. Some gaming publication
It's like an esports thing or
did
something.
a whole thing like how to not fix your Switch featuring this random
Oh my
Twitch
gosh.
streamer. I got so much traction on that, but absolutely no kickback because nobody was like, by the way, Wood from Beat 'em Ups, he's a Switch. No, I didn't get any of that. It was just what it seemed like was some Switch modder was doing a stream and messed up the most basic thing. So then, of course, because everyone is so smart in comment sections, like nobody is dumb. Everyone is like, oh, this modder didn't know the basic rule of don't take metal to the... Please give context. I tried everything and my friend Bob made me do it.
Tweezies, man.
We didn't mention this on the podcast, but I didn't believe you that you can't take the battery out. I thought all you needed was a
Yeah.
card. Here's my bent card, and
Yep.
then we tried it together, and I straight up could not take the battery out. So
I was told
you're right, it
by
is in there.
so many people to take that battery out, it just pops out with a card. It does not. Do not try it. The only way to take the battery out is with isopropyl alcohol that I can't pronounce ever, and or what was the other way? A heat,
Hair
like a
dryer,
heat
maybe.
gun, like a hair dryer or something.
Yeah, but then you're heating up the battery. And
Yeah,
like that's
and who
kinda
has the
dangerous in
time
its
to
own right.
sit there with a hair dryer on the freaking Switch?
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's not ideal.
shouldn't have been doing
What
it.
I've got a talking point that I wanted to bring your
Yeah,
attention.
yeah.
Because
Please
I
do.
know,
I've been
I know
curious
that,
about it.
because you know how you were complaining the other day about the other day anyway, like about LA Fitness doing recurring charges from your bank for like 5 years or whatever.
Oh, this isn't
I
about
was
the
like-
kangaroo? Okay.
I did see Kangaroos. I can talk about that.
Mhm.
I was looking at maybe restarting Patreon again. I don't know, whatever. But I was like, I logged into Patreon for the first time in like 5 years, and I noticed I still had one subscriber. I was like, oh my
Oh.
gosh, this person's paying me $2 a month, and I literally my last post on Patreon was like, this is no longer going because I would do like 45-minute behind the scenes on how I make this music thing, and it would get 1 view. So it's like, oh, well,
Yeah.
there's no point.
Yeah.
So I noticed, I looked, I was like, who is this Patreon subscriber? And it was literally Beat 'em Ups Wood has been paying me $2, well, like $1.97 after tax or whatever,
Hi.
for the last like 5 years. I was like,
Hi.
oh my gosh, you might need to check your bank.
No, you're fine. You can keep it, buddy. You're the best.
No,
What are those services? There's like those services you can get that tell you, it's like an app. It tells you like what monthly charges you're
Yeah.
getting. And they like sponsor YouTubers and stuff. You should look into that.
I actually, when
Tell
the,
them this would make a great video.
Yeah, it
Because
would.
I got a lot of problems.
our first actual sponsor is, no, actually, when I went through all that
Oh,
gym
gosh.
stuff, I actually went through PayPal and my bank, and I deleted so many subscription services that we weren't using. Like, we have been paying out the butt for so many things. Like, for example, we were paying Hulu to have HBO Max $11 a month, but we've had HBO Max for free with Spectrum for like 2 years. So we've
Oh
just
my
been
God.
paying for nothing. I found like $100 worth of subscription services that I canceled. I canceled Trade Coffee, which I only canceled because they were sending far too much and I couldn't get through all of it.
I still pay for it and they give me the coffee.
I pay.
believe
Yeah, I
it.
pay. I was paying. But I'm going to resub whenever I run out of the 17 bags of coffee I have. Thank you, Trade Coffee.
The last one
awesome.
they just sent me. So let me tell this story. Quick aside.
Okay.
They wanted to move the sponsor date. I tell this in the next week's video. They wanted to move the sponsor date, and I said it's totally fine. I mean, it didn't affect the schedule at all. But tell them it's a big deal, and we want a lot of coffee to make up for it. So they sent like 8 bags of coffee.
Oh my god.
This is a side note, but actually recently what I've been doing, and this is just a must be nice, is when a sponsor comes to me, I turn it down initially and just to see what happens, and they almost always come back with more money. So I've started
Oh my
doing it
God.
like almost every time. I'm like, tell them no. And then they come back, they're like, we'll pay more. I'm like, tell them yes.
I tried to get a sponsor. I tried to get our first sponsor for the show. It was a local coffee roaster here in the Surf Coast region, right? Okay. That's as vague as I can be. Anyway, and the guy was like, "Oh no, it's too hard to ship overseas," and I was like, "Oh, okay, well, whatever." I tried to get a sponsor for the show. It didn't work out.
Yeah.
We will
Coffee's
eventually
hard.
get a sponsor.
Yes.
Coffee's hard because it's locally sourced and stuff. Like
Yeah, yeah.
there's one that I used to do, Sail Away Coffee, and when we did it way early on, we did the sponsorship, and then I found out they only shipped to like the tri-state area, It's like, what the hell
Oh.
was the point of even doing a sponsorship?
Yeah,
There's
that's why.
no point.
That's why when Eric was trying to nail down a sponsor from this like indie coffee hut in the middle of Victoria, I was like, probably shouldn't get them to waste their $50 because
I'd like to clarify that Sail Away Now ships at least nationwide. I don't know where
Great.
else.
not a sponsor of the Wood and Eric show, but
No.
And not a sponsor of me either anymore, but they make good coffee.
Most difficult. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, do you want to talk about your kangaroos or do you want to wrap it up?
Yeah. Look, I went to a wildlife enclosure the other day. We
thought
saw
that was
meerkats.
funny.
We saw.
Because you said like I can't even take my son to the aquarium, and then like the next day it was. So did you like have that in your head where you were like, I'll take him to this?
No, it's because lockdown had finished.
Oh,
I mean, we're
okay.
back in we're back in our 8th lockdown again,
Oh.
which that's whatever. But yeah, we did between a week between lockdowns. We went to a wildlife enclosure. We took my son to see kangaroo, and he literally walked right up to him, was petting him and going, oh, petting him, and then he fed him out of his hand and everything. It was so cute. It was great. It was a good time. So I saw kangaroos over the week.
That's a cute story. I actually, when we went to Australia, Kim and I last, that was a really fun trip. I'm not going to get into it too much, but when I was in Australia last, like 7 years ago, I was broke as anything. Like I was borrowing $10 from my friends to like get food. Like I never had money for most of my life, but I went back a little bit more money than I had back then. And I was just like, because these friends of mine have been friends since high school and they've stuck with me even the 7 years since I've gone. Them and my brother and sister, I was just buying them everything. Like everywhere we went, I was like, buy this, I'll buy
That's
this,
nice.
I'll buy this, I'll buy that. Like we went to the bowling and there was like 8 of us, and then I like went first and paid for everyone, and then they were all like, what the heck is happening? It was really fun, but I took them all
That's
to a zoo where you could like pet kangaroos, and Kim and I were like feeding the kangaroos out of our hands. And, yeah, I paid for everyone to
nice.
go, and we had an absolute blast.
They're nice.
It was a fun trip. Cost
That's
me a
great.
lot. I'm
You
actually,
mean you don't just walk out on your stoop and see a kangaroo?
You can.
but
I wouldn't
one of
pet
my
one.
last days in Australia, where I was like driving around, they were just hopping around the street. It happens.
And you had
I
to
usually-
box one?
Yeah. You punch him.
It's like,
you,
get over here.
you try and get him in the nuts. That usually knocks him out for a couple minutes.
It's,
Right, I've
it's
heard
funny
stories.
though. I will say as an American overseas, like so I grew up in Pennsylvania, so I was used to seeing the deer crossing signs, and you would always see a deer in the road. Over here, I'm driving on the other side of the road. You see a kangaroo dead in the road, and you see the kangaroo crossing sign. It's like, what kind of world? This is like a 4th dimension timeline kind of deal.
I feel like it feels weirder with kangaroos because they're bipeds. Like they're like eye level.
they are. That's the thing. Is like
weirder.
there was only one time where I was driving and I had one hop in front of me, and I was like, oh, there it is. It's like
They,
this is my
they will
moment to not
actually
die.
like destroy you, because if
They'll-
you hit
oh,
them
yeah.
and
Total
they
your
go in
car.
through the windscreen, they just kick their legs like crazy, and those things are like alligators' teeth. Like they will just
Mhm.
shred you.
Oh
and
my
you're
tear you
dead.
in half.
You're dead. You're
Yeah.
dead. That's a cheery note. Also, I ran over a koala once, took its head off.
Oh no.
No way, dude!
On
That's
purpose?
awful.
Yeah, he was running too. I had to swerve. No, I
Oh my
was
God,
I
dude.
was driving home from my friend's house one night, and it's pitch black Australia roads, right? There's like no like
Yeah, I
street
know.
lights in a lot of roads, and I'm just driving down my crappy car with terrible headlights. I could barely see like a foot in front of me, and then I'm just all of a sudden I see this cute little koala just sat there in the middle of the road, looks up at
The
me
wild?
like, "Mama," and then boing off the
And
bumper.
then Wood had a thirst for blood.
It literally was like
Dude.
you've never heard such a thud. I'm telling you, like it like when I got out of my house, my front bumper was like broken and like smashed
I
apart.
couldn't, dude. I ran over a frog one time and I cried. Like, my God, if I hit a kangaroo or a koala, I'd,
I actually
God.
like
Probably
I was
revoke
very
my
I was
residency.
actually I joke about it now because it's been so long, and I mean in hindsight he was delicious, but at the time I was very 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 upset. Like I couldn't stop. Like not that I had any really reason to, because like what am I gonna do? Like
fair enough.
I didn't have a needle and
Yeah.
thread on me. I wasn't stitching that head back on, but I just left it. I was like, I'm so sorry, my friend. That was really upsetting.
what are you
I
gonna do?
don't know if
Go
it's
out and
a
apologize
meme.
to it? Like,
Yeah, just like shake its paw.
yeah,
I don't know
sorry,
if it's a
man.
meme or anything, but I heard that they're like incredibly dumb and
Yes.
vicious
Yeah,
animals.
yeah, they're very dumb, and the eucalyptus they eat is like a drug to them, so they're usually
Yeah.
high.
Gets them high.
Yeah.
And they're all
And
infected
it's
with
like-
like
it's
syphilis
the-
or something.
they're infected with syphilis and that eucalyptus isn't even nutritious
Have
to
you
them.
ever
It's just the
heard-
only thing that they think to eat.
Have you ever
Yeah.
heard
Yep.
what they sound like when they're like talking in like a tree?
They're
Horrifying,
like
right?
screeching, dude.
Producer, this is gonna end the show. This is it. This is seriously the end. I'm gonna
Okay.
link you, or can you? I'll try and find it. Koala sound. Just Google koala sound and play it in stream if you can.
Oh, this is gonna sound like my old band.
Yeah, sure. Let's see if I can set this up.
I don't
Just,
think I don't think I can hear it.
No, I gotta find it first. Hang on.
Yeah, just koala sound in YouTube. I think the first video is koala call. That's
Koala sound 8-hour loop while sleeping.
Jesus
ASMR.
Christ.
Oh, God.
Okay. Yeah. There's a koala call. Just that one. Okay.
yeah.
Uh,
I don't know what it sounds like, but I'm hoping
Let
that
me
it
brace
sounds.
myself.
Prepare your ears.
I'll let you know if it's the sound.
all right. Let's see what this sounds like here.
Sounds
that's,
great. Beautiful.
It's the anticipation that kills you.
Are you qualified to play this one?
I mean, it's supposedly playing, but I don't know. Maybe. it
Oh,
got
go.
DMCA'd.
Sorry, go to like 1 minute 15 or 1 minute 12.
TMCA.
A minute and 12 or so.
1 minute 12 will
Okay.
get you.
All right. Can you hear that?
Oh yeah.
My God.
That
he's
just sounds like my
belching.
acid reflux
Yeah.
right now.
Is that what
Watching
you,
Mike right here.
is that what
Oh,
you
I hear it.
expected a koala to sound like?
No, it sounds like a warthog or something.
It's actually
That sounds. Can I tell you exactly what that sounds like? Because I know.
Please
Well, no,
do.
I don't
Keep it
know, but this is
PG,
just
though.
good. Okay, this sounds like if you go into like a truck stop bathroom, like
Oh my God.
and they're still next to you.
stall next to you and like the echo and all that. You know what I mean?
The
Anyway.
thing that's terrifying is like they're harmless. This is a harmless call, but they sit in trees. I mean, when you're walking around Australia, you can sometimes see a koala in a tree. It's adorable. But when you don't know they're there and you're walking underneath a tree and you suddenly hear that noise, like 2 feet above, like it gets you. Like it freaks
Say
you
that
out.
again?
All right, that's the show. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much, Wolfden, for joining us.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me. I'll send you the invoice.
I
50
can't
bucks,
wait
that's all
to
you get.
can't wait to ignore it. I didn't get anything for your show. Come off it. If you guys want to check out Wolfden and you don't know who he is, he's a creator who is almost my clone, identical twin brother in a non-offensive way. I mean, the thing is, like, if you're looking for content and you watch a content creator and you're like, I wonder who I can watch like this, I don't think you'll ever find a more like this for me and Bob's content than each other. We look the same, sound the same, smell the same. We both love coffee. We both love Nintendo.
I know on our Twitch, at least, we share the most amount of viewers with each other, right?
Yes,
Isn't that a
our
stat we have?
crossover is like the highest for both of us. Look, we're so similar that Too Many Games decided to minimize confusion. They announced us together rather than separate.
Right.
So where can they find you, Bob?
YouTube.com/Wolfden, Wolfden Podcast, Wolfden Clips, and here on Twitch. How about that?
Bobby's also one of my closest content creator friends, and I've had a blast getting to know you over the last couple of years. Even met you once, I didn't know it until like a year later.
Yep, and that was at Too Many Games.
I was at Too Many Games. I think at one point I
Yep.
was like, Bob, I can't wait to meet you. And you were like, you already did.
I did on the Spawncast. We were on the Spawncast together.
Right.
And you're like, it was great to finally meet you. And I was like, I met you already. I asked for a selfie. You thought I was a random person.
Anyway, Eric, any final thoughts?
No, that was it. It was just great to have Bob on the show. Again,
Yeah.
Bob is incredibly well filmed as well on YouTube. So if you like high production value
God.
stuff, definitely the.
Oh
the
yeah, we
channel
were
to
actually
watch.
supposed to gas you up a bit. We had it in the doc. We were going to talk about how great your channel was and how good quality
for
it
real,
was.
like legit.
Yeah, for real.
Stop it.
Mm.
Stop
Yeah.
it.
Mm.
I don't like it.
It's a thing.
It's so
Just
good.
go watch the
Calm
channel.
down.
If you want to watch content that's actually good, yeah, Bob Wolf.
It was good to meet you, Eric, and producer,
you.
even though I've definitely felt like I met you both already.
By watching the streams
you-
and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, of course, yeah, that's it.
All right. I feel like we're stalling now. I'm loving the new format, and I loved having a guest. And thank you
Yeah,
all for
it's great.
listening. Thank you, Eric, for being gorgeous. Thank you, Bob, for being delicious, and thank you, producer, for being mysterious.
Oh, you
course.
betcha.
Oh, something else we were supposed to do is thank everyone that listened to the audio and YouTube versions. That last YouTube post got like a ton of comments, and we read them all. And next week we'll read them on the stream. But it was really nice. Thank you so much. But that's it. We're out. WoodandEricShow.com to listen to the show. Video versions, audio versions can be found anywhere you listen to a podcast. And as the producer always says,
Fist bumps only.
fist bumps only. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for watching and listening. Catch up with the Wood and Eric Show at woodanderic.com. Fill out the valued viewer form to be part of the show, and leave the boys a voicemail at 210-951-4927. Bye!